Alright, once again, we're back with more ridiculous baloney to talk about. So let's talk about tires. Door here. I guess as far as tires go, the way I started out, like everybody else, I was just mounting them straight onto the rim. Nothing, nothing special as far as what I was doing. Most of the time I was using either like a HPI low bounce insert or a Yokomo non-repulsion insert. They look something like this, as like memory foam. These are actually the ones that I was using for the front of the car. And you can do them two ways, because the Yokomo ones, I don't even know if you can find them anymore. Luckily the hobby shop I went to had a ton of them. They have like a massive amount of everything, and they just had these old stock Yokomo inserts. This ring is almost like a mini, sized ring. Then they would have a larger ring out of here, and then it was like they punch a couple rings out of it. Like you'd have this center part and then have another part punched out as well. Anyway, you can mount them like this, and then actually mount the tire over that, which gives you like a huge air gap. Like you can also use the regular sized insert and mount that in there, and that's a different thing where this is more like almost like running no insert in the tire, whereas running the larger ring is more like running a regular insert, because it kind of tends to put a little pressure on the tire, outward. But I was running those in the rears and the front. They usually work pretty good on the tracks I was running at, which was mostly tracks that are outside, but they had some sugar water on them, some way to prepare them. Now I have these tires, which are also Yokomo non-repulsion type inserts, I believe, in these ones, yes. But I put them on truer, and you can see in comparison the shoulders are way different. And you can see that they've been the shoulder's been knocked down on the tire. There's the edge of the sidewall. They're rounded. It actually can take rubber off there with a tire truer and a sanding stick, just like you'd use for foam tires. Excuse me. I guess I have indigestion. Anyway, it's a different profile. I don't know. Generally, like with a foam tire, when you take down the shoulder like that, it's going to make the car have more traction. Now, that being said, I tried these at the Tamiya track, and it was okay, but nothing ever. Honestly, I think the best set of tires I had were probably, I think it might have been these ones, and these were the original tires I'd been running for a long time. They're just, basically just these non-repulsion insert, and the larger the two rings, and you can tell they have a lot of air gap. There's a lot of, they're not real stiff. The HPI insert would fill the tire a little more. This one fills it less, so you get a little more sag. It sags into the ground a little more from the weight of the model. So I don't know if that's good or bad or what. I know what works at home, which is this. Actually, what works the best at home is actually, if I have them here, sitting in front of me. Actually, these are what works best outside in our tracks, which is this insert. cut down. Oh, I got an empty tire here, unmounted tire. If these will actually go right inside an unmounted tire. They go in there, boom, no problem. You can put put the rim right in there like that. Without too much problem at all. So we get this on here real quick. And still low on the stand. Oh, that's because I got the wrong size rim. It's the front. Okay, the rear sitting here. There's the rear. It's a little more like it. But anyway, you can mount the tire up like that. And when you do that, there's some air gap, but the air gap is more the air gap is between here and the rim. You can see this. That's how it's going to sit on a tire. It probably has a little more propensity to shift around because of that. Now I don't know. I didn't like that idea. Generally, if I'm going to have an air gap on a tire, I'd rather have it be where the tire is, or where the insert is close to the rim. And then, if anything, the rim has contact with the insert at all times, and the air gap is between the rubber and the insert. Because usually the idea was the air gap would help to cool the tire. Because anytime you have constant, I mean, you could build up, you could put this tire on with this insert full size, and build up around the rim, whether that was with servo tape or any whatever to fill the gap. At least in old touring car days, when you want to do, make sure that there was going to be no air gap between your tire and the rim, you'd actually put servo tape around the rim, which I don't know if we were always thinking straight back then, because it just seemed like it wore out tires faster. The air gap kind of tends to help the tire out, I think, staying a little cooler. So what we would do is, what I was doing, is cutting these inserts and kind of try to figure out, how much you're going to take off there. Kind of line it up again, take a bite out of it. See what that looks like on the rim. It's not too bad. Probably could even take just a little bit more off. And generally, as long as your cuts are fairly close, you'll be alright. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but it has to be decent. When I do this, I'd rather do it to where I can take more off than come off and have too small of an insert in the first place. So this is about right. The way I like to do it, you take the glue and you just glue the very top edge to prevent from getting a big time hard spot on there. You can just glue the very top of the insert. And it holds it together because obviously it's going like this. But you can see it still has, it's not like a super hard spot because you're only gluing like the top half maybe of this thing. You're gonna put a little tiny dot in there to kind of hold it together. But that way you're not creating a huge hard spot on the... So now it goes on like that, and that's a more correct size. You know, and then you have air gap in the tire that way. Then it's not riding right on top of it. You can actually see it shaking around in there, so there's room for it to move. You're not riding right on top of the inner surface of the tire here all the time. That was how I prepared the tires on this car, and that was good for a track that has a lot of preparation. You know, you're if you're going to a place that they're going to sugar water or spray pop or, you know, grape pop or whatever all over, that's was really good, really fast. You know, maybe if there's VHT, I don't know, there's some places that actually VHT the track, that would probably work pretty awesome too. But that's what I found worked for me out here in, you know, where the outdoor tracks are a little different. And this works really good on carpet too. On carpet, as much as I complain about it, the tires glazing over anything, out of all the tires I had, that was the best. That worked the best. Was that type of a tire. You know, we did try some different stuff at that race out there, at the TCS race. We even tried, at one point I tried front tires with no insert at all. I also tried rear tires with no insert at all. I guess at least with the front tires there was also, like, the rears I was told to try actually the front stock foam in the rear and then no foam in the front. And I guess the idea was that the front would have, you know, less grip or be less responsive because of having no insert in it at all. It would just kind of flop around, because usually the stiffer the insert, the more responsive the car is, the more traction it has sometimes. You know, it's like one of those diminishing returns things. But anyway, that still didn't work that hot for me. The thing that worked the best was, like I said, yoke non-repulsion all the way around, or something similar like that. The HPI low bounce works, or whatever kind of funky. If you can find some memory foam, not the stuff that comes in most tires, you know, just the closed cell stuff. This is regular, just closed cell foam. This kind of, you know, it doesn't rebound. It kind of goes blah. And we used to use those outside a lot too, but I don't know. At this point, from what I can tell, if you don't have too much preparation on the track, I guess the regular old stock inserts supposed to work fine. You know, profiling the tires, I don't know, might be hit or miss. I only say that because I had this particular set of this pair of tires, I had profiled them down. And if you do that, you kind of got to be careful too, because you can also, I think, do it too much to where you overheat the tire and it kind of like goofs up the tire. You know, it's like you run a tire so many times, the heat cycles, and then it's junk after that. You can, I think, actually ruin the tire doing that. Because these tires were the ones that I had put no insert in, and I ran them, and they were not really that great. And then I decided to put an insert in them, and they still were not great. And I think it's because there's something wrong with the tire after trying to profile them. I think I got them too hot or something. So you gotta be careful about that. But that's pretty much it for the rubber tire lesson, the short rubber tire lesson. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's what I know. So hopefully you guys will learn something too.